Thank you for watching Jamie TV, where we do not pissy pants about. At this channel you will see me play lots of different instruments. I'm not saying I'm good at playing them all, but I do like to dabble. But my first love will always be the bass guitar, and I'm also very passionate about making music with my iPad and my iPhone. The problem there is that on the iOS platform, bass players are not particularly well catered for, despite the fact that there are now hundreds and hundreds of amazing, just superb quality applications for making music with iOS devices. For bass players, there really are only a couple to consider. But this morning I woke up to find in my inbox a message from one of my good friends telling me there's a new bass amp out for iOS. It's that new to me, I'm reading it off the screen. The Bass Deluxe amp. So I followed the link and discovered that it's only a couple of quid. And I thought, can it really be any good for a couple of quid? So I thought, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to download it straight away, and today I'm going to make a video all about it. So I've not even opened it yet, so together we are going to find out if this amp is any good. And what I'll do is I'll figure out how to use it, I'll give you a complete walkthrough of how it all works, and I'll give you loads and loads of playing examples so that you can hear it for yourself and decide what you think to it. So in standalone mode, let's have a run through all the features of the app. Here we've got an input level monitor and output level monitor over this side, master volume here. We've got a button to activate the pedal board here, which I'm going to come back to in a moment. That's not to be confused with the pedal board down here, by the way. This one is for presets, the other one is for effects. Here we switch the tuner on and off, and to be honest, once I put it on, I tend to just leave it on. Here we've got some drum loops that we can use for practice. So if I just select a rock loop there, press play, take the drum volume up here, take the BPM up a bit, right, let me show you a few different loops. This little section here, we can record a loop of bass playing. So you might want to record a little loop and solo over the top of it, or you might want to use it to assist you with songwriting. All you do is click here to select how many bars you want to record, or you can click in the box here and type in how many bars you would like to record. Shooting down to the bottom of the app here, this is where we would store presets, and we've got, I believe, 3 banks. Let's just check. Yeah, we've got banks A, B and C. Each bank you can store 10 presets in, so you can actually save up to 30 presets. The button over to the right here just toggles between the preset pedal board and settings, I guess you'd call it. It's a small settings menu where you could change over the input on your audio interface and check your sample rate, buffer size, etc. So looking at the amplifier itself, what you've got here is a 2-channel amp. It's essentially 2 amplifiers in one, and you switch between the two with this switch here, and both amplifiers have identical features. This would enable you to have, say, a clean sound and a slightly dirty sound, your regular sound and a solo sound, you know, maybe your regular sound and a slap sound, however it is that you want to use it. So each side of the amplifier has the kind of compressor that you find on a lot of amps, the kind of compressor that has ratio and threshold already preset, and you simply dial in how much of it you want, but you do have control over your release time. You've got a switch for fast or slow release. You've got a switch to boost the input gain, so that will take you more into a kind of overdrive kind of territory. You can dial in how much drive you want here and balance that against clean. So the balance between these two controls here and whether or not you've got this switch on will determine how clean or how dirty your sound is. And of course you've got the kind of EQ that's featured on the front of an awful lot of bass amps. Over here we have a presence control that does affect both sides of the amp, and here we can select a speaker emulation. Let me show you how that pedal board for effects works. We click here to switch on the pedal board, and you'll see it's divided into 2 sections. This section over here is where you would put effects that you would like to be before the front end of your amplifier, and this is where you would put effects that you'd like to be in the send and return from your amplifier. Anyone who's experienced using effects with a bass amplifier will know that certain effects will work slightly differently if they're before the front end of the amp than they would if they were in the loop. I personally really like most of my modulations and delays, things like that, in the loop, but anything with preamping or overdrive and actually phaser I like before the amp. To add an effect, we select a slot and press the right hand triangle, and then we toggle through the available effects and choose the one we want, and you'll see here there's actually a compressor which is more involved than the one on the face of the amp. Now I would probably use this. I'm a big fan of compression, so I would dial this down to 0 and use this instead. let's just select another slot and add a pedal so that I can just show you which ones are available. We have a chorus, a reverb, a tremolo, delay, and a drive, and of course the compressor. Well, what a pleasant surprise that was. It's as cheap as chips and it's a brilliant app. This amp sounds wonderful. It's so versatile, you can dial a whole load of different sounds into it. It's rich in features and yet it's logically set out so that you can find everything that you're looking for. Everything works as it should. The effects sound wonderful. It didn't crash on me once. It didn't cause any apps that I hosted it inside of to crash. If you're looking for a bass amp and you don't want to go down that route of like buying one of those guitar rig style apps and then finding that there's nothing really very much for bass players in what you get, you know, for your first payment, and then you have to give them some more money to get some bass stuff. You know, this actually probably sounds better than a lot of those bass amps, so I very highly recommend it. I made some notes. Now, it's occurred to me that a lot of people are now using these kind of apps with their iPad to perform live, and this app would be very, very suitable for that, but it would need, I'm going to share my thoughts with you and with the developer too. I've been making these notes as I've gone along, just learning the app. So if you were using this app live, the channel switch option would be really, really useful, but it would be nice if you had a bigger button to switch between the two amps. It would also be nice if you had a largish button for muting so that you could mute the amp and tune silently while the singer's rabbiting on about something. Also a feature that I had an idea for would be if because the tuner's quite small, and that's fine when I'm working on my iPad like this, but live it would be nice if you could have an option to select the tuner and then it popped out and took up the whole screen, you know, so that it's just more visible. I mean, that would be really, really useful. You can have that one for free. Okay, what else? I should just mention that when you're using the app as an AV3, you retain all of the features apart from the pedal board at the bottom, which is where you save and recall your presets. You lose that, but you can save presets and recall them within your apps, like, you know, in AUM or Cubasis or whatever. Yes, and that works like that, you know what I mean. Something else I should mention is that in the list of speaker emulations, 1x15 cabinet appears twice, but they are two different voicings of a 15-inch speaker, and the developer says that he's going to add something for a future update to distinguish between the two. Also, another idea that I had was that, see, I like to use a split signal for my bass. I like to live, I like to use two amps because I like to use a little bit of overdrive, and I've found for many years now that the best way to get a great overdriven bass sound is to have one amp or one signal that's completely clean, and that's just your bass, that's just your girth, right? And then the other signal is the dirt and effects, and that gives you the articulation. It occurred to me that with this app having essentially two amps, one on top of the other, it would be nice if you could dial both in at the same time, if that was an option. For me, that would be absolutely perfect. That would be wonderful. So I very highly recommend this app, especially at this price. I mean, the developer has intentions to develop it further, so I say you can't go wrong with it. Get it bought. Now, if you enjoyed this video, if it was useful to you, please do give me the old thumb up, and if you didn't, by all means give me the thumb down, but please do comment below the video and tell me why you disliked it, and that saves you from being one of those sado keyboard warrior types. Now, if you would like to check out any of my music, all the links are down below the video, as is all my social media stuff, as is how you can help out the channel if you'd like to. And what I'd really like to draw your attention to is my Patreon account, where there's a lot of interesting stuff happening right now. So until next time, until my next video, please take care of yourselves and be good people. Look after each other, make lots of music, and don't pissy pants about. See you later.